what it comes down to is that what you're saying does sound batshit crazy. That's really what it comes down to. And then even as the information trickles out, so like there was a time when people laughed and reporters laughed and made fun of people who thought that the shots were going to affect women's menstrual cycles and pregnancy and stillbirths and miscarriages, but specifically, especially menstrual cycles. Oh, that's impossible. It's a rumor. It's not science. It's not science to say it can't possibly have an effect, and it's just not science. This one anchor woman was saying that it's not science. So can we please put those rumors to rest or something like that? And then, a few months later, it was like, oh, yeah, it does, it does affect it, but only like a little bit. And then, then more information came out. It's like, oh, yeah, it affects it a lot, right? But it doesn't have the effect until someone else makes it a big deal. You don't feel like you have the right to say, oh, yeah, hey, that's a big deal. I think we have trouble like validating our own assessments of things. Unless everyone around you, and especially those around you that you esteem to be smarter than you, more educated than you, more in the know than you, have more status than you, be more successful than you, unless they too are mirroring back to you, are mirroring that that fact or perception to you. It's like you don't feel like you, little old me, I don't have the right to make that observation. If like these other people who are so much more smarter than me are not saying that, then I'm not allowed to believe what's in front of my eyes, right? It's like this lack of, is it a lack of self-confidence, or is it just like a, because we give our, what do you call, I feel like Jordan Peterson tried it, or Jordan Peterson explained this really nicely, and I'm gonna get it wrong, but he basically like said something like, he was talking about, I think, sanity basically, and the idea that it's not like you by yourself being sane or determining what sane is. It's like outsourced to all the people around you that you come in contact with in your society, and they kind of bounce back to you like when you're like a little off, or when you, right? And then we respond to that. So it's like a kind of group thing. Anyway, how did this start? Oh, right, the fantasy thing. I think that'll be really helpful to identify the fantasies and then to say goodbye to them, because all the great, I whatever is great in someone, that's like a seed of potential in you, right? It's not like there are certain people who are great and everybody else sucks. It's in that potential is in all of us. So I don't think Martin Luther King sat around wishing and being sad that, oh, like I wish everyone would just see my side of things and then we don't have to have the bus boycott tomorrow. Like, I don't think he wasted his time like that. And every single wonderful person had a group of people who like really hated them, right? That's a common thing, right? You could be like the best human being ever, and you will have a dedicated group of haters, right? So, the idea that we could live in this kind of world right now that we are, and if you are someone who is saying things that are not in accordance with the narrative, and you're thinking like, oh, I hope people like me and don't think I'm crazy, and like, no, it's like that is a fantasy. It's a fantasy, and it needs to die. So I care the most what I think of me, what God thinks of me, and what my great grandchildren will think of me. And moving forward, I can identify the fantasies and lovingly sit with them, and then choose to acknowledge that they're fantasies and therefore they don't have a place in my life. Moving forward, and I think that will be really helpful